Welcome to another episode of Nerdtooine and a Movie Podcast. I am your host, Nerdpool Prime. Thank you again for joining me. If you are listening to us on YouTube, iHeart, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts, besides Apple, because they haven't responded to me yet, thank you very much. And do me a favor, like, share, subscribe, follow, whichever one the app dictates, so you keep getting amazing content. So this is going to be my second in a row where I'm going to freestyle. I will admit, I bit off just a wee bit more than I could chew this weekend, and I wasn't able to do a script. My real job, unfortunately, took up an extra day, as well as having a comic book auction and my first ever sports card auction on the Whatnot app. I just didn't have time to make a script for this. So, to be honest, we might be all over the place. But I did want to start off with some comic book specs. So I'm not going to give too many of my personal specs right now. I've done that before. I will continue to do it. But I'm more talking about how I pick my spec books. And I understand that I might be giving away some tools of the trade, but oh well. For me, when I read a comic that I can see it in my head as a film. A great example of this is like Berserker. Like, yes, we knew it was already confirmed for a movie and a spin-off anime series covering his life, but that first issue, when I was reading it, I could literally see it as like a montage with a Keanu Reeves voiceover, and it just fit. So even if that wasn't confirmed, I would have been specking hard on that book. Or books like Nocterra, for instance. When I read that book, it just jumped off the page. The visuals, the ideas, the themes. It was just fantastic. And I remember thinking, yo, if they do this right, this could change the game. Because it's a like horror coming of age story. Like, sure, we might have stuff like that, but I don't think people are really ready for a lot that they'll see in Nocterra. It's, for me, it's just one of those books that if you're not reading it now, and you miss the bandwagon, then you need to find a way at least to get it digitally, so you can at least keep up, because that book is amazing. I have to admit, I'm behind. I mean, I think I'm only on issue 3. I think 5 and 6 just is about to come out. But and especially if you have like an iconic person in it, and it doesn't have to be the good guy, bad guy, but like for instance, in Nocterra, Blacktop Bill. When I saw him first appear, and as that character started to grow, I was like, yo, that is an amazing villain. That would make for an entertaining movie. So, and I'll admit, a lot of my spec happens to be like Boom Studio titles. I mean, think about it. They've just look at the track record since their inception. Now you got the Berserker already confirmed for a live action and an anime. Something That's Killing the Children already confirmed. They're working on the script with the Dr. Sleep writer. Excuse me. And then you think of books like that might go under the radar with Boom that I've been specking on from day one was like Proctor Valley Road. Like, Proctor Valley Road is literally, for me, it's like an adult Scooby-Doo where the monsters are actually real. Tell me you don't want to see that. Like, so, or Eve. Like, a young black girl goes across the post-apocalyptic world with a freaking robot teddy bear. What's not to like about that? So, whenever I say I have a spec book, it may not always be because I have heard something, and as people may know by now, I do hear things. I mean, I tend to get news about breaking things in the nerd world roughly, at this point, I'm about 8 hours ahead of most people. I'm trying to really hit the ground running and be like a real insider, but that takes many years of hard work, and I've just started. So I get my news probably third, fourth hand, where most people get it 5 to 6 to 7 tans deep. So not all my spec is based off of intel, like that I've heard about rumors. But now we hear Bleeding Cool is reporting that Nocterra is in the works. They have to be real hush-hush about it because the project is that under wraps. But according to them, their sources is viable. So there's chalk up another one that I told you about that you weren't listening. And now the A covers and the glow in the darks and everything, they're going for ridiculous amounts already. And that's before confirmation. So I always take every bit of spec with a grain of salt. Always. Doesn't matter who it's coming from, whether it's from me or from any of the bigger people like, Comic Tom or, I'm drawing a blank on anyone else who might be in the game, to be honest, because Comic Tom kind of polarizes it. But any spec is always a gamble. But you need to start looking at the track records and just understanding what the person who is talking knows. Like for me, like so far, and I keep going back to this, I've called so many things in the MCU because I know the source material and I can see the writing on the wall and be able to tell where the likeliness of the story is going to go. Like for instance, I knew once they dropped the announcement about Kang, about Jonathan Majors playing Kang in Ant-Man 3, Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumanium, I was like, why are they telling us this now? Because that movie's not, even then, was not scheduled to be slated till 2022. It's not even, 2021's not even over. 2023, if I'm not mistaken. We haven't even hit 2022 yet, and that movie is still a year out. Why would they, and this was last year that they told us this. Why would they release that information? And then, when the trailers drop, you can start seeing, like, variants and multiverse and all this stuff, and you're thinking, where's this gonna go? I knew immediately that Jonathan Majors was gonna show up. I called it. I said Jonathan Majors will show up in Loki. He probably won't be full on. I literally said full on Loki mode. I'm sorry, full on Kang mode. I'll admit I thought he was going to show up as like a memory with Renslayer or like a data file or something like that. I didn't think they'd have the balls to have Jonathan Majors actually show up, and apparently that scene was recorded like the last week of shooting, so they didn't. Not a lot of people knew that was even going to happen, but I knew. I mean, they talk about WandaVision, where before the series started, I said we're going to get introduced to Wiccan and Speed, the twins, and they're not going to survive the show, and they're going to return in Multiverse of Doctor Strange 2, the Multiverse of Madness, to help Doctor Strange stop Wanda from destroying the multiverse. I said that before the show started. I have a WandaVision theory that is still alive. Just saying. And then now with Secret Wars. I honestly, and it's driving me crazy because I haven't gone back and listened to it yet. And I'm going to do a challenge. If anyone's listening to this and wants to help me, go back to my early episodes and find out exactly when I said that Secret Wars is a guarantee. Because you can see it. It's just the way the things are orchestrated. And I was on 1 month later podcast and I said, I'm calling it now, Secret Wars 10 years from now with the Russo brothers returning. And I heard a report that they're talking about 10 years from now, Secret Wars. I mean, come on. Like, how many things do I have to call before the industry is going to stop ignoring me? And I know that sounds like a self-pity rant right there. And you know what? It very well may be. But this is my show and I can do what I want. So here we are. And I say all that to give you some titles that I'm specking on and that I have been specking on for a while. And in hopes that people are listening, and some of these are going to be off the wall that you may not even heard of, and that's going to be because I read. Well, I'll be honest, I read. I need to really get back into reading. I'm just so busy that I keep putting it on the back burner. So, but one of my books that I already said, Proctor Valley Road. I'm not letting people are specking on that, but I feel it. It might be best as as animated series, like an adult animated series, but like Proctor Valley Road, like I said, it's Scooby Doo for adults, where the monsters are real. How does that not sound awesome? Another one that I'm specking on, and I think just because it read really fun and the premise is awesome, Savage, and it's by Valiant Comics. It's basically if Mowgli from the Jungle Book was, instead of being in just the jungle, he was on a world with dinosaurs and monsters and shit he had to kill, and then he just was put back into like present day England. And then craziness happens where he's fighting freaking dinosaurs in the middle, like right next to Big Ben. Like, how does that not sound awesome? That would make for a great movie, if not a series, depending on how long that run is. So that's another book that I'm definitely specking hard on. Another, as I said, Image, Nocterra from Image, the Scott Snyder book. Of course, I've been specking on that since the first issue, and it just kept getting more and more intense of a feeling the longer it went on. But another book that I think a lot of people are really sleeping on is Radiant Black. Now, again, I am behind, so for all I know, the last 3 issues of Radiant Black are horrible. I have every book in the run, multiple copies. Even though I'm not reading it right this moment and I'm caught up, I trust in the title. So I'm just gonna, I keep buying it because I just got this feeling. The first, I read up until, and I think I can say this without being even a spoiler warning at this point because I'm so far behind. But the main character was what drew me in, and then he was killed off, and it somehow sucked me in even more. And it didn't make any sense to me. It's just another fantastic book that a lot of people, I think, are sleeping on. I mean, Radiant Black, it's a Image comic. Kyle Higgins, a great writer. He's known for Invincible, Mighty Morphin, Power Rangers. And then you got Marcelo Costa, who's a great artist. It's a really, really good title. And it's definitely, I feel it's like, and here I keep saying things, it's like things from my childhood being made for adults now. Like this is a Power Rangers, solo Power Ranger book for adults. Like with feelings of inadequacy and just feeling like you never can live up to what your potential. I mean, who doesn't feel that? I mean, I know I feel that on a daily basis. Granted, that's because I've got so many projects that I'm working on, and that I might never finish because I've got so many. I mean, not to get too far off topic, but when you're writing 3 movies, a novel, a possible comic series, and everything else that you already know I do, it's I may never finish any one of the projects, but that would probably be my luck. But I'm working hard to get back into the mode where I can start creating again. This has been a very interesting year for me. For everyone, but it was the most productive year of my life. The things I've been able to accomplish in just a short period of time. I mean, this podcast was started during the pandemic as a means to express my nerdness when I, instead of pestering the dungeon master every time I had a thought or a theory that he didn't even care about. I figured I would, talk into a mic and hope people are listening and maybe they enjoy it. But I mean, of course, everything wasn't great. I mean, I'm a very much an introvert in almost every sense of the word. So staying at home was not a problem for me. Now there were some other things that weren't so great. I am coming up on the 1 year anniversary of my grandmother's death, so that's she passed last year. And it's right when that's when I stopped writing. Really, was when she passed, because that was always something I did. Because she was always so like, you're such a great writer, and I mean, I know I am. Like I mean, I've finally got my college degree. I've been doing it, like I said, very productive year. But writing papers is something I was always good at. Had never issues with that, so I knew I was a good writer. But that was something like I did like as a almost like she said it, so I have to do it type thing. I have to prove her right. And you know, the universe had to balance out. I was doing way too good in every other aspect of my life. I couldn't have too much happiness, and that's not even I know people are gonna be like, oh, here he goes, he's gonna get depressed. No. So while I do suffer from depression and other things like that, this is a true like Newtonian balance of the universe type deal. For every action, there's an equal opposite reaction, as well as, you know, just this cosmic karmic scales. You can look at it scientifically, metaphysically, spiritually. You can't appreciate the highs without experiencing the lows. And I think that's why I enjoy and just relish in everything I get to do these days, because I've hit rock bottom. I don't know about anyone who's listening, and if you have, or if you're going through that, please do not hesitate to reach out to me. I would love to speak to you, help you through it, or just listen. As many people joke, they say I'm a member of the TVA because I'm up at all hours of the night. I mean, not for nothing. Where I'm at right now, it's 9 a.m. I usually record these the night before, but again, too busy. It's 9 a.m. I've been up since 7. I didn't go to bed till almost 4, like, because I was setting up and getting all my stuff in for my card auction today. So I say all this to basically say, if you're struggling with something, and if you can seek like professional help, do so. There's always someone who can listen, someone who can understand what you're going through. And if you need someone to be that, please do not hesitate. And I want to make sure everyone understands, this has been a big thing about me for a long time. You can go back to my interview with Jason Douglas, which is one of my first. It was my second interview, so probably my third or fourth episode of this podcast. We had a long conversation, and we got off topic and started talking about how people come to us. And if you want to come to us with any issues or just want to talk, we're here. We will definitely talk to you. And you can literally ask anyone who's a follower of mine on either Instagram or wherever. I mean, I have a page, Marvel 2K21 on Instagram, that has almost 14,000 followers. For the most part, like and comment on every single thing that's posted. It doesn't matter what it is, who it is. Now, if you speak out of turn or say something that I don't agree with, I'm just gonna ignore it more likely than not. But if it's a theory or something like that, I'm all in. Let's talk. Like I'm a nerd at heart. I've been a nerd since I was a little kid. I'm now I'm like what 2 weeks away from my birthday, and I mean like what I don't even know. I'm in my mid-30s. Okay, so I've been a nerd for decades, even if I was pretending not to be for a short period of time there. But I love what's happened, and I talked about this before in one of my early episodes. Wow. In a more recent episode of my podcast, the nerds won. I mean, think about where we are right now in the span of nerd history. We may not have been there for the creation of some of these characters, most of these characters, I would say. But this may be the best time ever to be a nerd. Ever. Ever. I mean, like, eventually this fervor is going to die down. This is the apex. We're here living the nerd dream. And some people want more. Some people aren't satisfied. And as someone who has had lows, I'm very satisfied. Even movies that I don't think were that particularly good, I can still enjoy. Like Black Widow. Like, I'm not a big fan of the movie. I didn't go see it in theaters. I bought it on Disney Plus. Sorry, Scarlett Johansson. Honestly, if I would have known the stipulations of your contract, I probably would have gone and seen it in theaters. But again, I'm very much an introvert, so you tell me I can watch a new release at home, I'm all about it. And it's a shame that became the most pirated movie in the pandemic era. I mean, come on, guys. And don't get me wrong. All right, like I said, I told you it's a freestyle and be all over the place. Don't get me wrong. I've definitely back in the day on great programs like Kazaa or Morpheus. I may not have or any of those like leak sites, you know, where you can watch movies online for free. Don't get me wrong, I've done it. But what I'm saying is we shouldn't. I've stopped. Like, why? Especially now, think about it. Like, look at what even with Scarlett Johansson. She's a multi-millionaire. And she just got screwed over and lost out about $50 million. $50 million? Who do you think you got, Chelsea Carter? I hope some people get that reference. Because I didn't use the right word the right name on purpose because of the bloopers. So I hope some people got that reference. And if you did, please shout out the name of the movie that's referenced from. So, yeah, it's, as you know, I'm a big fan of Everything Always and Michael Roman. As Michael Roman said, it's like millionaires arguing with billionaires over who took the most millions. But still, it's still a big loss that she had to like suffer through. So, and I'm not saying the pirating was, you know, 100% that, but it definitely didn't help. So, you know, so even a movie like Black Widow, where I wasn't 100% happy, like Suicide Squad's a different story. Like I talked about it in my last episode. I watched Suicide Squad twice the night it was released on HBO Max for free, and then went the very next day and took me and the Dungeon Master to go see it because it was that good. And it really, you know, it was really an interesting experience. There was a total of maybe 10 people in the entire theater to go see a movie like that. And it's a shame that movie probably won't make more money because it was during this time. And it's really sad. And again, I say all that to add a little bit on the end here. I don't care what you believe. And I'm never one to back down from my opinions, and I'm not going to here. Get vaccinated. Okay, I'm sorry. I know I tried to stay as not political as possible on this show because, one, politics 9 times out of 10 don't belong in nerddom unless it's part of the story, you know, whatever. But this is one of those times where I have to say it. You realize that the variants that are coming out now can, you know, do damage. There are kids that are getting COVID now, okay? Like, I personally have no problem going back in the house for another year and being even more productive. I get that. Fine. I'm not the one that's going to suffer here. It's going to be the entertainment industry. It's going to be the restaurant industry. It's going to be people who don't have the luxury of working from home. Those are the people that are suffering because certain people won't get the vaccine, or certain people won't observe social distancing orders, because politicians are making this into a political statement. It's not. This is science, health, and safety. Think about it. Think about this for a second. We should have already seen Eternals. We should have already seen Black Widow in theaters. We should have already seen Morbius. Venom. Now delayed again. Because of fear that no one's going to go see it. Because they don't want to risk dying. This is not about politics. This is not about, like, I don't get it. And, you know, and this, I feel the same way about systemic racism. It's not a political issue anymore. Or ever was, really. It's a humanitarian issue. Like, people deserve to be treated, like, not even better than what you might think they deserve. Just equal. Like, what's the problem? Are we all not humans? I mean, sure, maybe some of us are aliens from another planet, like in the comics. And if you are an alien, please do me a favor and let me know. It would make my sleeping a lot easier knowing that you guys are already here. I mean, but if we don't all come together over a potential, like, world-changing global pandemic, then when the hell are we going to come together? When the hell are we going to just say enough is enough? And, you know, honestly, I might get some flack for this episode. I don't care. And I might lose some followers from it. I don't care. Because this is what we have to do these days. I would gladly risk my following if I could save a life. And if you wouldn't, then we're not on the same wavelength. We don't move the same. We don't think the same. That's okay. If the world was made up of people just like me, we wouldn't last. I mean, it's like in the Big Bang Theory, Penny asks Leonard, why aren't more guys like you? No, why can't every guy be like you? He's like, because if every guy was like me, the human race wouldn't survive. It's true. But, you know, I may not be the bad guy here. I might be the some, but, you know, sometimes you need that one person to do that. And if I gotta be the bad guy, guess what, man? I'll do it. Say goodnight to the bad guy. It's the last time you're gonna see a bad guy looking like this. But that's not true because I ain't going nowhere. I can't be stopped. People can try to stop my stream, you know, from getting all the attention. I don't care. That's the I keep trying to tell people, like, you're like, well, what happens if it's not a success? It is a success. Period. Because I get to talk about things I enjoy. I get to nerd out, even if it is by myself to a microphone. If one person, no person, I don't care, hears it, it's a at the very least, it's a therapeutic device for me. So when people are like, oh, aren't you worried that you're going to lose followers? Aren't you worried that someone's going to, you know, start attacking you? Aren't you worried that you're going to get hate? I don't care. I really don't. I mean, I will still do this 100% for me if I lose every single follower. Will I hold to a strict schedule and make sure that I have at least one episode a week? Probably not. Probably not. But will it continue? You bet your ass it will. And Noah, if you're listening, sorry for the language. Noah's amazing reviews, one of my first and most loyal supporters. He was a guest on the podcast. We had a great show. Definitely check that out if you want. It's on my YouTube page. And I figured out that I am going to keep all of my interviews for the most part, I think. A YouTube exclusive thing. If nothing else, to justify me paying for the services I use for it. I was going to break them down and make them audio only for some of the fans who don't have the YouTube while I was on break, and I didn't do that. I still might, but it's been months. I mean, if you listen to the audio only, go to my YouTube page, same name, Nerdtooine and Movie Podcast. I've got interviews with Chancellor from Whatnot Comics. Before I started selling comics on there, I'm gonna be selling cards there today at 2:22 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. RUN and Dito, acclaimed artists from Wolverine. Of course, the Star Wars High Republic book, but there was another book I wanted to mention, who also agrees with me that MCU better make Wolverine short again. # make Wolverine short again. And let's see who else was on there. I also had Illus Illuminati, one of the hottest artists right now. I mean, yeah, he's very attractive, but no, I mean like hottest, like he literally just got in the game 6 months ago, and he's now done exclusive covers for Department of Truth, Ice Cream Man, what else? Multiple Department of Truths, but Ice Cream Man. What else? I know he's done. Eat the Rich. Another Boom Studio title. Dark Bloods, it's another book I'm specking on. I think it's Dark Blood, not Dark Bloods. And I had a great roundtable discussion with Hard to Come By, Duffy Boys Comics, and again, he sponsored my last week's episode. I'm sure he's going to sponsor another one coming up soon. But if you're not following Duffy Boys Comics and Hard to Come By on Whatnot, I don't know what you're doing. But Duffy Boys specifically has a big boy spec mystery box that I'm in on. I'm actually looking to get a second one. I mean, and if you listen to Duffy, if I bet on something, you know what it is. Excuse me. And also some of the members from the 1 Month Later podcast. I was on theirs not too long ago, where I made one of my most recent Secret Wars spec theory announcements, I guess. And let's see, do we do anything else? And you guys did hear that Duffy's first appearance, because that was in fact an audio only interview, because it wasn't really an interview, it was like a nerd out. But there will be more interviews coming up soon that are going to more than likely be YouTube exclusives. So definitely going to want to check that out if you're not already, because I got some great content. It's everything you hear here and some. So if you want to just subscribe, turn the notifications on so you don't miss anything, so you can pick and choose what you want to watch, have at it. I've done interviews with Darson Solomon from Community, and we do have some big Community news. I don't know if I shared here yet, but Dan Harmon has said that he started working on the script for the Community movie. Don't worry, I'll wait while you all freak out. True story. So that's great news as well, but it's, again, this is why I always do scripts. I get sidetracked, and I don't know how I got to where I'm at right now. But oh yeah, YouTube. Yeah, if you haven't listened to or watched my YouTube channel, go ahead and do that. Or like, share, subscribe. Let everyone know about this great content. You're gonna want to definitely stay tuned, because I'm gonna be making more and more predictions, and more of them gonna be right. So far, I'm 4 for 4. No, I made some that didn't pan out as well, of course. But you might want to listen to me, because I've been pretty right so far. I called when the Carnage trailer was going to drop, the initial one. I was literally on a Samurai Sunday YouTube auction with Hard to Come By, Wild Comics. Who else is in there? Duffy Boy. I'm sure I'm missing some people, and I apologize. It was a while ago. But I was like, according to my spec, it's coming out tomorrow. Bam, trailer drops tomorrow. And I now, that's an interesting segue because I have some news. So, according to many of my sources, including such as the amazing Michael Roman. All right, now, again, I'm going to sidetrack real quick. If you're not subscribed to Everything Always on YouTube, you are absolutely missing out. He's also I Am Fires on Instagram. He is who I wish I could be or hope to be one day, to be perfectly honest. But he is reporting through Mikey Sutton that we are probably going to get the No Way Home trailer within the next 48 hours to the public. It is going to premiere at a private con. I think it's a movie con or something. I can't. I'm doing this live, and I didn't prep, to be honest with you. And there's a good chance we get that No Way Home trailer next couple days, and it's gonna break the internet. It's gonna absolutely break the internet, and I can't freaking wait. And you didn't hear it here first, but yes, we should probably have that No Way Home trailer with 48 hours, and then that will give it some time to cool down, as Michael Roman stated, and be ready for release with the Shang-Chi movie on my birthday, September 3rd. Now, I personally hope they don't release it to the public until Shang-Chi, because that would make everyone go see Shang-Chi. And I keep name dropping. I'm not going to tag him in it because I'm not using his name for clicks in the hashtag or whatever. But Michael Roman, again, he's super hype about how amazing Shang-Chi was, and I can't wait to go see it on my birthday. So I'm vaccinated. I'm going to go see it. I'll wear the mask in the building as well. Not a problem. It's not that big of inconvenience to most people. If you have breathing issues, of course, that's going to be an inconvenience and a hindrance. And for that, I 100% hear you not wanting to wear a mask and do all that. I get that 100%. Nothing against you or anything of the ilk. But that being said, if you don't have compromising health issues with breathing, wearing a mask really isn't that big of inconvenience. It's just not. That's my spiel. But that's going to be it for this episode of Nerdtooine and Movie Podcast. Thank you all for listening and letting me go on a freestyle rant for almost 40 minutes. If you're still here hanging out at minute 38 on the dot, thank you so much. Do me a favor, send me a DM on either Marvel 2K21, Nerdpool Reborn, or my page for the podcast on Instagram. It's Nerdtooine and Movie Podcast with a underscore in between each one, each word. I know. I feel like Shield and Agent Coulson. I understand. I'm working on it. But again, thank you so much for any support. It really means a lot to me. I will, like I said, I will keep doing this for myself no matter what. But if I get a following, people who love the content, it makes it just go that much harder. But in any case, thank you for joining me again for another episode of Nerdtooine and Movie Podcast. This is your host, Nerdpool Prime, signing off. Kiddies. It's your old pal, Mr. J. Just stopping by to say thank you for listening.